And we are back. And we just finished watching 1995's Perfect, The Usual Suspects. This is rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 46 minutes. We caught this on Prime Video, but you can also watch it on AMC Plus, Freevee, Roku channel, and to buy rent on Prime Video. This is written by Christopher McQuarrie with directing credits to Bryan Singer. This is the story of a group of 5 criminals who are brought together to do one last job. It is possibly also their last job because the stakes are high and the danger level on this thing is high. I'm going to go around the table and get impressions. Gee, I'm going to start with you. What did you think of the film?
I thought the film was great.
Did you? What did you like about it?
I liked the story and there were funny bits and I just liked the story.
Did you recognize pieces of it from things that you've seen recently?
Not at all.
No?
No.
You sure?
I don't remember. I didn't pick up on anything from anything.
Do you want to refresh our memory?
I remember the remote control video or remote control episode of Gumball when they realized what Anais did.
Oh, like that. Oh.
Yeah.
I thought it would be more obvious.
That came from that.
That came from that, yeah.
Oh. It's just kind of...
It's influential in little things. Like an adult watching that cartoon would be like, oh my God, they're doing The Usual Suspects.
Right. What did you think of the relationship between the 5 guys?
What do you mean?
Well, what did you think? Did you think that they were going to make it to the end? Did you think that they were going to have each other's backs? Like, what did you think of the relationship? I mean, Fenster and McManus. Listen to me. McManus. They had a relationship. They had been partners for about 5 years. So there's that history. But then the other guys, what did you think? Did you think that they would ultimately have each other's back? And what did you think of Keaton, sorry.
Keating.
Thinking of the writer.
I think that besides Fenster and McManus, that they were kind of self-serving.
So each man for himself?
Yeah.
You think Hockney would have left with the money?
Probably. I thought that even if I thought all of them were self-serving, he was the most.
Hockney definitely seemed to be he was definitely seemed to be the most self-sufficient of the, I guess,
crew.
Lesser crew members. I mean, Keaton, you got me saying this name.
I know, it's Keaton.
Keaton is definitely painted as being the guy who is secretly the leader, even though he's not really...
He's sort of the reluctant leader.
He's like the reluctant leader because it's McManus who's sort of like getting the jobs and whatnot. And Keaton is sort of... It's like, I don't want to do this. I'm trying to go the straight and narrow. This is what you're led to believe throughout the entire movie. And Verbal is just sort of, he's there because he wants to do the job, but he knows that he needs Keaton to help do the job. Right.
He mentions in the story, like, these guys aren't going to let me in unless you're there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because they know you. They don't know me.
Yeah. And Hockney he's like, seriously, he is all business. He doesn't care about any of these people. He just wants to get the money and get the job done
and be done with it.
And that's it.
Right, yeah. This is the winner of the Academy Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Kevin Spacey as Verbal Kint, and also to Christopher McQuarrie for Best Writing Screenplay written directly for the screen. So original screenplay. This was, without a doubt, like, if within recent history, one of the better scripts. We talk about story and how that's important, and I think this script absolutely illustrates that when you have a good story, you have a great movie.
Yeah.
Olive G, what'd you think of the film?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, what'd you like about it?
I don't know.
Did you like the, I guess, mystery aspect of it?
I guess.
Did you have a feeling that that's where the story was going to go, or were you surprised?
What do you mean?
Like at the end,
were you surprised by it?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really? Okay.
I mean, he kind of seems suspicious.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite scene?
No.
No. Did you have a favorite character?
Nah. Not
No.
really.
Would
Not
you
really.
recommend this movie to any of your friends?
No.
No. Yes. I
They
think
would
this
not
is,
be interested.
yeah, I think this is too much over. Olive G, what did you think of David Kuyan, played by Chaz Palminteri,
The cop.
the cop?
The cop who's interviewing Verbal.
Verbal. He really thought he was smart.
Yeah, no. He wasn't it.
No, he wasn't it.
He was not it.
Yeah, but he was convinced that he was going to crack this case.
No, he did not figure it out.
No.
Well, I think he was more obsessed with Keaton.
for
Like
some
he didn't
reason.
even. I don't even think he cared about the whole Kaiser Soze thing.
No.
He was more obsessed with
Keaton.
And punishing Keaton. He had a real vendetta against Keaton
He
to the
sure
point
did.
where he even showed up at the restaurant when they arrested him. And I don't think he needed to be there.
No.
Because he wasn't part of those police.
No.
So
Yeah, he definitely had a hard on for Keaton.
He
I think
really
he had a bit
wanted.
of like an obsession.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It makes me wonder why. I mean, I understand Keaton was at one
You
point a
never
dirty
find
cop.
out. Yeah, you never find out. Although the only thing you know about Kuyan is that he's customs. So something there, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly either. But yeah, that was interesting. They never really address it. It's not really needed, but it would be an interesting little aside to kind of delve into. But I think
Yeah, I guess it would have been a distraction to go into the details of why Kuyan hated Keaton so
much, yeah.
or was so obsessed with bringing him to justice.
yeah. And like Olive says, it definitely was an obsession.
Yeah,
A
I mean,
magnificent obsession.
it seriously felt personal.
I know you've seen this before. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I've always loved this movie. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. I was one of the people that was blown away by the ending. I loved how they showed the ending, the whole Dan Hedaya talking about how, if you just got to step back and look, and it all makes sense. Talking about how his office is a mess, but he knows where everything is. And Chaz Palminteri sitting there with his cup of coffee, feeling like, yeah, I got it all figured out.
And then seeing the little
all
hints.
the little like keywords that have been like sprinkled throughout this entire tale we've been told.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that reveal was really good.
Yeah. And it's funny because I think we paused it a little at the end, and I think it was like 8 minutes left, and it wraps up quick and nice.
Yeah,
The
once
wrap
A
up
lot
on this
happens in like it's
in the
less
last
than 10
5 minutes of that film.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
like all the pieces just
Yeah.
slide right into place.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is really one of the most brilliant endings for a movie
Ever.
like
Ever.
this.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
Just the voiceover, the cup breaking, everything.
And just the iconic just lines, like the thing about the devil, the biggest thing
Yeah.
was that he
Convinced people that he didn't exist.
Right.
Or-
I love
and
that
like
line.
he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah, that's such a great line, and I love the delivery at the end of it. Yeah, it's. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's a flawless film. There's nothing here that I would change. The performances are all brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I mean, I hate to say it, Kevin Spacey's great in it, but he's
great.
He's great in it.
And I like that they convince you, because like when we were watching it, and even you picked up on it, G, you were like, oh, that's why they showed that shot in the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
because you're led to believe that's where Verbal is hiding.
Mm-hmm.
But even when you're seeing the shot, you don't see him.
Yeah, I was
You
like,
don't-
I was
you're-
in after I was like, oh, that's why they should. I was like squinting and trying to find like an eye or something.
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
You're expecting
You're-
to see.
you're looking
you're
more.
expecting to see a pair
it
of eyes.
doesn't even look like you could see through that.
No,
Yeah.
no, you couldn't. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
so-
did the same thing. I like when you see that shot again later on in the film. It's like, is there anything new here? But it's not.
No, but
Yeah.
they're
There
leading
were
you.
no eyes.
But they're leading you to believe that, and they do it
Twice, right?
It's so well done.
Yeah. Watching this film reminded me a lot of like Hitchcock and like those types
Yeah.
of movies where you get like little crumbs to try to figure out the larger
this
story.
This definitely felt like a throwback to
Like older
like
movies.
older movies. It's definitely that kind of story, but given a modern or as modern as 95.
Five, yes. This movie is
shine to
going
it.
to be how old next year?
I don't even want to stop it.
30 years.
Shut up. Shut your mouth. But, and even the title.
Yeah.
The title is a throwback to Casablanca.
Right.
Round up the usual suspects.
Right. And the poster of the 5 of them in front of the lineup, too. Just very iconic scenes and lines. I mean, this movie is just, from start to finish, just a banger. A banger.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, yeah, I love that there's so much, like, influence of other, like, movies of the past kind of thing. Like when we watched Knives Out, the first one, it felt like a throwback as well. Yeah. I mean, these are the types of movies that I really enjoy because it sort of opens you up to, oh, remember how when we used to watch these other movies in the past.
It's relying more on people talking about the story, the interconnection or the interplay between the characters. Mm-hmm. Rather than guns blazing and explosions and stuff. And the way this film tells you the story, you're being told through a narration,
right,
of somebody who
may or may not be a reliable
narrator, but you're seeing it through his eyes. And sometimes you could even see the discrepancies between the first telling and the second telling, or maybe not even the omniscient telling and the non-omniscient telling. It's just so well done, and like you said, that's something that's more true to an older movie than a more modern film.
Yeah,
because there's not a lot of action in this.
No,
I mean there's killing. There's killing. Yeah. Some people get killed throughout, but it's not like as though there's like action sequences and car chases.
Yeah,
and
it's not that kind of movie.
And people running to stop somebody from pushing a button or something like that. It's just okay. And there's a lot of different heists.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like there's the first one that leads to the second one that leads to the big thing.
Yeah.
And in between that, there's other stuff going on. There's the attempt to intimidate Kobayashi, which fails horribly.
Miserably.
And Kobayashi, brilliantly played by I think his name's Peter Postlethwaite.
Yeah. Passed away, but he was
passed away. That voice of his,
very
just
iconic
the way
as well.
He says everything. You know, I assure you, she will face the most gruesome violation before she is killed.
Yes,
it's just like what?
Yes.
He says it so matter of factly and with like no facial expression change at all.
Yeah.
He's just describing. Maybe we'll just castrate your nephew. Oh my God, he is a creepy dude.
Yeah, for sure. And like when you first see him, he's in the shadows in the background.
That first shot of him is very strange because he has like a bit of a light just around him from behind.
Yeah, but his face is still in shadow.
His face and the background are practically the same color.
Yeah,
it's just this sort of like
halo
semi-silhouette or halo effect around him.
Yeah,
and he's just listening
standing
to them
there
talking, and he doesn't say anything until Hockney is about to just leave.
Right. Who's your favorite suspect?
I mean, I always love Gabriel Byrne. Gabriel Byrne's great.
He is.
Yeah, and plus he's from what you're shown, but you don't know if it's real. He's like torn.
Yeah.
He's like trying to go straight, but yet he's still involved with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then you hear about his history, and he is not a nice guy.
Right.
He is killing people left and right. He's faking his own death. He's doing all sorts of real shady stuff.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, so I wondered, I think the first time I saw this film, when that scene happened, I wondered, was Keaton really dead, and did this other guy take his place? That was a thought that I had. I mean, I don't think that's true, but in my mind, like sometimes like when you watch things, you think of other scenarios and stuff. And I remember when I watched it in the theater, I had that thought because when Kuyan is telling Verbal that story, there was something about Verbal's face that made it seem like, interesting. Like he didn't know this, right? Mm-hmm. But then I was like, well, I guess it makes sense that he would try to like fake his own death so he could have a new start, right?
Well, the thing is apparently he faked his death only so that he wasn't around or wasn't believed to be around until those two other witnesses were killed. Mm-hmm. and then suddenly he's just back.
Right.
So, yeah, it wasn't like he was.
Yeah, because then how would you explain a different guy? It would have to be the same guy, right? Okay, so yeah, that my theory didn't make sense.
I think for Kuyan, it was just sort of proof that
He's a scumbag.
This
and
is the
he'll do
sort
whatever.
of thing that he has done already.
Yeah.
You think he died on that boat. You never saw him die. And
Yeah.
truth be told, we never actually see Keaton die.
Yeah.
It's always you see him, and then you see the guy point a gun at him, and then you see from a great distance, bang, bang. So, and that's just the language of movies.
Right,
The
sure.
language of movies, if you don't see that guy dead,
Chances are.
he's not dead.
Right.
But this film, it like we said, you can't trust the narrator.
Yeah.
And
sometimes you can't even trust what you're seeing.
Well, everything you're seeing is verbal story.
Interpretation of the
There's
stories.
very few scenes where it's not verbal story, just them in the office. And I think in the very
Giancarlo Esposito when he's
scene
getting
with
that,
Giancarlo Esposito
that
where they're
information.
interviewing the Hungarian.
I knew that was that guy.
Okay.
I was like, that looks like that guy from Breaking Bad.
That is that guy from
That is
Baker.
when he was much younger. Yeah,
Much younger.
Also from The Mandalorian.
Also from The Mandalorian.
the great Giancarlo Esposito.
Fabulous character actor. This was littered with just fantastic guys who
Everybody
are
was-
like
yeah.
in that thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, okay, well, Kevin Spacey was a bigger deal, I think, after this.
This made Kevin Spacey's career, I think.
Gabriel Byrne, in and out. He's brilliant in Miller's Crossing, but I think since then, like, not as
He's done more supporting stuff.
stuff. Baldwin, I feel like, too.
This was
more
the height
of
of his career.
Yeah,
In fact,
more
he
supporting
I think
things.
he would probably even say that himself because
Yeah.
he really didn't do much after that.
I think Benicio del Toro, too, he sort of ducks and weaves between things.
He's fantastic, though.
He is fantastic
And the
in
thing
this.
that's funny about him is he will always try and do something
Just
unique,
weird
for each
and
character.
different, yeah, that he
like you
plays.
could barely understand what
Fenster
what
said.
Fenster is saying.
Yeah.
And just the way he's dressed and the way he's
mannerisms.
he's like manicured.
Yeah.
He just looks like a strange dude.
Yeah. He
And
looks like he should be like playing in a mambo band in the 50s.
He's like Ricky Ricardo, exactly.
Who you also wouldn't understand.
But like, I mean, yeah, he excels at like doing weird things.
Yeah. And then you have somebody like Kevin Pollak, who's just fabulous.
Kevin Pollak,
Who has maybe the best Shatner impression.
yes,
And
he's
Walken.
fantastic Shatner, fantastic Walken. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he started out as a comedian.
Yeah.
He is probably the guy who delivers some of the funniest lines, but
Lines.
he's like mean. that line about what are you going to do when you're back in prison? And he's like,
F your dad.
"Oh, F your dad and go have a snack.
And then you have the great Dan Hedaya, Tess Palminteri, Giancarlo Esposito. These are all guys that are like just really don't have big roles, but just deliver. Are solid, just amazingly so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
this
everybody that says Kaiser Soze's name in fear because the way they say it, like that the burnt up Hungarians like Kaiser Soze, and the guy in the boat is just like Kaiser Soze.
Yes.
They are terrified.
Right,
That
as they
name
should
that
be.
name became like
the boogeyman.
Like seriously,
Yeah.
that's like a boogeyman name, and it's a great name.
Yeah.
Kaiser Soze.
Yeah. It's not too long, but it's got the right
A lot of Z's.
enunciations that it's very compelling. I'm gonna go around the table and get numbers. I'm gonna start with you, Olive G. 1 to 10. What'd you think?
I like an 8.5.
8.5. Your favorite movie, Raymond. G.
Stop it.
1 to 10.
9.5 probably.
9.5. What would you say?
9.95. I'd be as close to a 10 as possible. Yeah.
I'm going to give this movie a 10.
I knew you
There
would.
is no room for improvement here. From where it starts to where it ends, brilliant casting, brilliant script, brilliant scores, fantastic cinematography and set decorations and costuming. All of it came together wonderfully. I mean, this
seriously,
is a movie
if you
that
haven't seen it and you don't know what the deal is, and we've done a pretty good job of
trying not to give too
giving
much away.
Go see this movie because
Yeah.
that's like one of the things I feel is kind of prevalent. Younger generations, they just sort of like skip a lot of like the real good classic movies. And this is definitely one of them, and it'd be a shame if you don't get to see this, because this is good. This is cinema. This is a story.
Yeah,
you're in for a story. Great crime drama.
Absolutely, brilliantly done. And I think too, just if you are a film student and you haven't watched this, get off your ass and watch it ASAP. This is how to do an excellent film. From start to finish, watch this film and study it, and
it's a great,
and really understand how story structure and all those components come together.
It's a great lesson in working with a lot of people. Like a big.
This
cast.
is a big ensemble piece. Yeah,
it's an ensemble piece, and nobody's shortchanged.
No.
None of the characters in the crew, in the background characters, even if they have a small part, there's something about them that you see and you get to like feel a bit for them. Even like Edie, who you feel you get to know a bit more through the descriptions of Keaton, that she really had feelings for him for some reason, and she really wanted to help him, and you believe that maybe this was like a genuine thing, that he was trying to turn his life around, but he just couldn't, because it was
like Al Pacino is being sucked.
Well, I think part of the issue was you had cops like Huyan who really would not let him move on from that. And maybe they had their reasons, because when you hear about the stuff he's done, could you truly forgive a guy that was that basically evil?
Yeah.
Can an evil man change his ways to the point where you could be like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to let him. I'm going to let him live his life.
That's an interesting question. I'm going to ask the kids that. If you knew someone who did something bad but then paid for the crime, do you think he should consistently be paying for the crime, even if he's done jail time? I'm going to ask you first, Olive G. What do you think?
No.
You don't know. Do you think a person can change?
Sometimes.
Okay, fair. What about you, Gigi?
It depends on the crime.
Depends on the crime. Somebody like Keaton. Do you honestly believe that he cared for Edie? Do you think he wanted to change, to be a different person?
I thought so, because when he says to stay, he says, tell Edie I tried.
Right.
So maybe.
I think so too. I think he did try. I think he did want to, but kind of what you said, that just cops like Kuyan wouldn't let him live his life.
And I'm not saying that Kuyan was wrong.
Right.
Because, like I said, the description of all the stuff that he had done
was pretty egregious.
Was pretty egregious. Yeah. But that's what makes characters like that interesting.
Yes, because there's a gray area.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
It's easier to just like, oh, well, he's pure evil. He's pure good.
Yeah.
You just don't know.
Yeah, but when somebody walks that shady spot, that's always interesting. Yeah. Anything else we want to highlight here before we wrap it up?
Nah, I mean, this is a film I think anybody who loves movies should see.
Absolutely, but not even that, but just storytelling. I mean, if you like being entertained, this is absolutely, without a doubt, one of the most compelling films ever made. I think, again, from start to finish, it is a 10. I mean, I don't give out 10s freely. I do give them out, but I think that this absolutely merits this. I mean, there's a reason why this won Best Original Script at the Oscars. It is just a very nuanced and just really well-written script.
Yeah.
Really well written. And the way the ending just sort of, the pieces just all drop into place is stunning. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, this is a film that's absolutely imitated a lot, but hasn't been perfected much yet. I don't think there's even a contender that can come close to being what this film is. I mean, you see other films try to imitate the stuff that happens here or borrow from this.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
just hasn't been to this level. Like, this is like next level storytelling to me. Yeah. I want to take a second out and say happy birthday to Stacey. This episode of the podcast goes out to my dear friend Stacey, who loves herself a good nuanced story, loves thrillers and dramas, and mentioned that she actually liked this film a lot because it really made her like just ponder stuff, and she likes trying to figure out the pieces of the puzzle before it's completely all out there for her. And just a fabulous person, and I get to call her friend and colleague, and I'm very excited that it's her special day. So happy birthday, Miss Stacey. See you soon. And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
good night.